Hello, it's Crafty Carol here with another little video for you for another Easter card using the beautiful Blessed Beginnings stamp set and dies. Although this one actually just uses the stamp set. We don't use the dies at all for this one. This particular card, it's a lovely set. It's got some beautiful sentiments and these lovely stamps for making a scene. So let me show you, there's all the bits, but let me show you the card first. So here is the card. It's a Dutch barn fold card, which means that there is half a card, if you like, at the front here. The bit you cut off actually forms this piece here. I've put some mats and layers on, just coloured a simple image and stuck a greeting on the front, a sentiment. Then inside it covers another piece so that you don't see that at the start. So that is the card, little Dutch barn fold. So really simple, really easy to make. Let me show you what you need to do. Just put that somewhere safe over the side there. So you need quite a few pieces. So you need a normal size base. So this is 21 centimetres by 14.8 centimetres, scored at 10.5. If you're working with US cardstock, it's 8.5 inches by 5.5, scored at 4.25. I have got in the blog post, you will see the rest of the American measurements. I don't actually have them ready to give you on this video, so apologies for that. I will try and work it out as I go. So this is your base card. So the first thing you need, I've got too many things on the desk as usual. First thing you need is your trimmer. So your base card, you're going to score it in half, which I've already done. But then we're going to do some cutting. So we're going to turn it. You've got your score line across the middle. So you want the front at the top. So you're cutting from the top. And you're going to cut down here at 7.5 centimetres. So 3 inches if you're working in American cardstock. Now you do have this line, can you see that there? There's a line on your trimmer blade and it's really beautiful for lining up. So it means that if I move that so that that line is directly across the score line, I know I have cut to the score line. So we're just going to cut the whole thing 7.5 centimetres there, or 3 inches. Turn it round, make sure your score line is in your trimmer channel, and then you're going to cut down to that score line again. Just make sure it's come all the way down, and this piece will just come out, and we need this piece, so cut it carefully because we do need that piece. So then you're left with this as a front base card, and we're simply going to fold that over, making sure it lines up beautifully, and just give it a good burnish with bone folder. There we go. So that is basically the card made. It's so simple. So we're keeping this piece because this is the piece that's going to sit on here. So important that you've taken care with cutting so it remains nice and square. The other pieces you need some DSP for the front here and to fit in the back here. And this piece is the normal size second layer piece. So it's 10 centimetres by 14.3, working in UK measurements, or if you're working with US cardstock, 4 inches by 5.25. So that is that piece there. And this piece at the front, this piece is 10 centimetres by 7 centimetres, or that is, I think it's 2.5 inches. Let me just check. 2 3/4 inches. So it's 4 inches by 2 3/4 inches if you are working in US cardstock. So those pieces very simply go on there. This DSP is actually from the Easter pack. What's it called now? Hang on. Oh, I'll just reach it from over here. I've used a lot of it already. Easter Joy, is it? Yes, Easter Joy. And it's lovely. It's specialty paper, so it's got a beautiful sheen and shine on one side of it. I think I might have shown you some of these sheets before, but they are beautiful. They've got lovely super patterns on the other side too. There are some card fronts in it. There's this lovely one with the stripes in silver and green and gold all through it. This one here, which has got another one of the stripes. This one, which has got flowers on it. There's one with tulips on it. It's just gorgeous. So that's the paper I've used, but obviously you could use any paper you want. I didn't tell you, the base is pecan pie, that's what I've used. But again, you can use your own colour style, whatever you want to do. So we're going to start off really quickly by sticking these bits on. Seems almost a shame to ignore the shiny side, but I have made lots of Easter boxes with that side, so I don't suppose I miss it too much, but it is a shiny side. So when you are sticking it, just hold it down for a second and make sure that it's really stuck well, because it just when it's shiny paper, it doesn't always stick just as well as you would like sometimes. There's enough that's not shiny that makes it stick okay. So I'm going to stick the big piece inside. I've got some glue on my work surface, which is not good. Try and avoid going near there again so it doesn't stick. So again, this will just, the sizes I've given you will just leave you a little bit of a border all the way around. So try and make sure that is even. I quite like that. Just come up a little bit. The beauty of having a bit of wiggle room. So that is our base card done. And now we have other pieces to use. So I have used basic beige for my matte layers. This piece here, this is 6.8 by 9.9 centimetres. So in inches, that is 2 3/4, again, roughly, by about 4 inches, something like that. And you want another piece of basic white, which is exactly the same size, because that is the piece that's going to go inside the card, which I haven't put a mat around. This piece is going to sit on top of the piece you have cut off, like that. And then you want another piece of basic white for the front. This is where we're going to do our front decoration. And this piece is 6.4 centimetres by 9.5 centimetres. So basically 1/4 of an inch smaller for American sizes. And that will fit like that. Then I have 2 other bits which are for the sentiment, and I'm using, oh, those need a bit of a trim. Where's my snips? That obviously didn't cut very well. I do find basic beige doesn't actually cut in the trimmer quite as well as some of the other cardstock. I don't know why, must be to do with how it's made or something, but anyway. So these bits, these are just the right size for your sentiment. So for mine, I think I should have put the measurements somewhere, I really should have done. So that's 7 centimetres by 4 centimetres roughly. And this is 3.5 centimetres by 6.5 centimetres, that fits. So again, just that little bit smaller. And you just want to make sure it's the right size for whatever sentiment you're using. I am using the Easter blessings from this stamp set here, and I've put them together on a stamp block so that the Easter is just above the blessings like that, because I know that that actually fits in the space that I've got. I could trim these down a little bit, I might do actually, because it doesn't need to be quite so big. So just you trim these to whatever you really need. So I'm going to do the sentiment first, as I've just picked it up, and I'm going to use Pecan Pie to match my base cardstock, and I'm just going to stamp it. And I'm going to stamp near the top because I am going to trim this down a little bit. So I'm going to just stamp it on there. Now you can see I've got plenty of room here, so I can actually trim it a little bit, which will look better. Then I will trim this to size as well. So I'm going to just, oh no, while I've got this out, hang on, just bring it out again. I will do my piece for the back of the card. Now again, you can use whatever sentiments you want. I'm going to use a sentiment for an old retired Easter set for this particular card, which is Easter is a lovely reminder of new beginnings, which I just love as a sentiment. So that is going to go at the top of that piece. Remember, this is the, oh, got a little mark on it. Oh, I have to get my little rubber on that and try and remove it. I've obviously got somewhere I've got some ink on my finger. That's not good. I'll rub that off later. I've also just got from that same retired set, I've just got a little flower because he's very cute. So I'm just going to use him in the corner as a little bit of a just something to just brighten up the inside. And if I just reach myself an envelope, I shall also put the same flower on the envelope. So make sure I've got it the right way up. We'll just have a little flower in the corner like that. Now I'm going to leave those to dry because I'm going to colour them with some blends. And if I leave them to dry, it means that they won't, it shouldn't bleed as I do the blends. If you try and colour with our ink pads too soon with your blends, they can sometimes just leak a little bit, just sort of bleed into each other. So while that is drying, I am going to just trim this and mat it up. So I'll just make the video go a little bit quicker because you don't need to see all of this. Okay, so those are those. I'm going to put these to one side because we'll colour those in when I'm doing my colouring. So now I want to, oh look, there's a little bit of, I'm so fussy about getting all of these little bits of fluffy card off the edges. I don't like that. There we go, that's better. So I can stick this mat on. That's another thing to do. And the card is really coming together. You can see it looks quite complicated, but actually it's quite simple. The beauty is in the decoration of the stamping on the front that we are going to just do now. So I shall just place that in the centre there. So I've got a nice border all the way around, and we'll get on with the stamping. So I'm using the church, and I'm going to use a lighter memento, not the black. I'm using the grey flannel, which is just a little bit lighter, and I prefer it when I'm doing some colouring and some blending behind, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to ink up that stamp of the church, and I'm going to place it just across to the right hand side, not quite in the centre, and you'll see why in a minute. So I need a little bit of room at the top to make sure there's room for a cross at the top. Oh, stuck, there we go. So just slightly to the right hand side, because we're going to do some masking stamping. I can close that down. So I want my garden old olive. And oops, just dropped something on the floor. I have no idea what that was, but I'm sure I'll find it. And I'm going to use the tree from the stamp set. So when you've done your stamping, I want you as well to stamp on some pieces of sticky notes, stamp it again and cut it out very carefully, because we need a mask for this. So I'm going to place this mask carefully over my inked piece like that. And now I can ink up my tree, and I'm going to have it down the side. So you can see now why I wanted, there we go, why I wanted it why I wanted the church slightly over, and why we need the mask, so that when I stamp the tree, it's not going to cover my church underneath. So the mask is just such a useful thing. And once you've got it, you can keep it. You can keep it to use for whatever else you want. I need that again. Actually, shouldn't have shut it down. Never mind. Right, we're getting there. Bits everywhere. Let me just move things. Okay, so the next stage, I've got the little tiny cross from the stamp set, and I need my daffodil. Oh, there we go. Daffodil Delight. Lots of ink pads for this. There's a lot of stuff you need for this particular card, but it's very easy. So I'm just going to ink that little cross up and place it at the top of the church. Sorry if my head got in the way there, but I needed to see to line it up properly. So that is my cross done. And then I want to give this a bit of background. So I'm going to use my sponge daubers, and I'm going to use my green and my pecan pie to make some grass and some base. So I have a dauber for each group of colours. So I've got my green dauber here, and we'll just get a little bit of this round the back so that I can just dab it off if I need. And I'm just going to put a little bit of green down the bottom of the tree here and on that side, and possibly a little bit just there. Why not? There we go. Just like that. Now I'm going to get my pecan pie. Get rid of the green before I put it in the wrong one. I'm just going to get the pecan pie out, and I am going to just daub all around the bottom here to give a little bit of a path. And you can make this as light or as dark as you want. If you just repeatedly daub it, it will get darker and darker. So I'll just a little bit more dark around the edge, I think. There we go. There. And so you've got a little path. And then the other thing I did was I used the dies. So I said I wasn't using the dies. Of course I did use the dies. I used the dies to cut out some clouds. Where did I put those? I did have them a second ago. Oh, they're there. So I cut out a couple of clouds because I want to have some sky here. So yeah, we'll have that cloud over there. So I'm going to get now my blue dauber and my balmy blue ink pad. And we're going to make some clouds. So you could use a little bit of low tack adhesive to stick this down if you wanted, or you just use your finger and get it a bit dirty. It depends, it's up to you. So I'm just going to dab around that. holding that in place, and then when we move it, as you can see, we've got a bit of a cloud shape. You could make your own just by not daubing everywhere, and we can use a different one and have a different cloud up here, for example. If it moves a bit, doesn't really matter. These are clouds after all, they're not anything special. So I'm just going a little bit down here, but not bothering too much because I don't want to get much around the tree. Put a little bit down there, there we go. And then I can keep those to do some more colouring another time, because it's always useful to have some clouds around. And you can see that's how we've then done the sky there. So this is done really quickly. So then we can peel this off and you can do some colouring. And to save time, because you've seen me colour before and it's a bit boring watching other people colouring, in the best Blue Peter tradition, here's one I did earlier. So just to finish in, so I've used a smoky slate, dark and light smoky slate. I've used daffodil yellow for the windows. I've stamped that. I've just coloured in the tree with old olive, and I've coloured in using pecan pie, light pecan pie. I've coloured in the stem of the tree, the trunk of the tree. So that is my completed one. You can see for this one I did a darker path and did it wider. It's totally up to you how you do that. I coloured in these bits of brown here with pecan pie as well. So when you've finished, when you're happy with it, that is your completed bit for the front. So we can now stick that on top of our mat here. Just like that. And that is now ready to go on there. We've got our sentiment at the bottom. The only things I didn't colour in, and here are all my blends in case I thought I'd colour with everybody watching, but just that's daft. So I will just colour in the flowers before I stick that in. So I'm just using this old olive again for the, or is it lemon lime actually? Could be, looks like lemon lime. Yes it is. No, it's light old olive. I was right the first time. And then I'm just going to do this all in one colour. That is I need a new Daffodil Delight pen because this one unfortunately has got a bit damaged, the actual brush end of it, so I have to use the bullet end. That's okay. So I'm just trying to leave the centre white. That one is actually bled across, but never mind. There we go. So I am just going to have a little go at removing that little bit of ink that I didn't want. This is just my sand eraser, which you can buy from Amazon. Very useful thing, because it just, as you can see, gets rid of little bits of ink you don't need. So that's good, that's better. So now to actually put this on, I want to have it pretty central, and then I can choose where I want it. I actually want it slightly above the centre. So I need the same space either side, and you can measure that again, make sure it's the same. So I've got 2 centimetres that side, I've got 1.5 that side, so it's not quite in the middle. I'll just ease it over a little bit. There we go. However you want to do it, you can just do it by eye if you wanted. So then I'm going to use the glue to stick it down. So it is important to put this one on first so you can make sure that the one on the top does go over it. So again, using my measurements that I've just dotted down there, making sure that it's slightly, the top and bottom, I want the top bit to be smaller than the bottom bit, and making sure that my widths either side are the same. I can just stick that down. There we go. And you want it just visually, it looks better if it's slightly closer to the top than right in the middle. So that's why I want a smaller space there and a slightly bigger one there. But as you can see, that just sits nicely. So then I'm going to stick this on top, and this is really easy because I can place that over the top, make sure it's covering it with a little bit of a gap as well. And then I can use my pen, because you're not going to see this side, to mark where the edge is here, so that I know when I'm putting my glue on, I only put it below those marks. So as you can see, I'm just going to put it, whoops, all over the desk today, don't know why. There, come on out, stick on my finger instead. Just wipe that quickly. There. So I only want glue below where those marks are. And then, because I know I've fitted it so that this goes just over the top, so it's covering that piece behind, make sure it's in the center. Oop, go straight, there we go. Make sure it's center as near as we can get. Again, you can measure it if you want and just glue it down. And there we have our nice little Dutch barn fold card without anything showing. So the final stage is I want to put my Easter blessings on here, and I'm going to use some dimensionals. And because this is slightly raised, it's not on dimensionals, but obviously with the 3 layers, it's bigger than here. I'm just going to put my dimensionals along the bottom of the sentiment rather than in the middle, so that it can sit with its top along across there. And so I'm just going to put a little line of glue on the top bit so it'll stick down on there. Oops. Go back on top. Can peel off the dimensional covers. Oops. Throw those away, and then I can place this where I want it. Again, making sure it's central and straight. There we go. So you can see there, I can hold it sideways and you can see I've got dimension at the bottom, but it's actually sticking to the card at the top there. So there we have it. There is our lovely Easter card. And to finish it off, I have some of these cork dots, which I've been looking for a chance to use, and it actually fits with pecan pie really beautifully. And if I hadn't lost my pokey tool, which I seem to have done, yeah, goodness knows where that's gone. So where is my take a pick tool? There we go. Use this then. And we're just going to have a couple of big ones probably, or a big one and a small one. So we'll have a big one up here. And I'm sticking these onto the back portion of the card because they are quite deep. There's quite a lot of depth on these little, if I turn that sideways, you can see. So as long as I put it on here, if I put them on top of here or on the base, actually there's not quite as much room really. So I'm going to just put them, I'm going to put another one just there. So they're all on the back panel, which makes it look nice. I could probably put some on here because I have got that raised as well, but I thought that was too much. So that is how I've done it. So there we have it. There is my Easter blessings cards. And I have now 2 of them. Where's the other one? There we go. Slightly different. This one I took the brown up the sides a bit more. Totally up to you how you do it. And I made different clouds. But that's the beauty of making handmade cards, isn't it? Because you can always make them just how you want. So I hope you like that little Easter blessings card. And I hope that I will see you again very soon. You will find all of the measurements on my blog at craftycarolscards.co.uk. Please do sign up for my emails so that you know when I'm doing my lives and my various classes. I do free classes online via Zoom. So please do sign up so you get that information. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.